Oh, hi, Internet. uh, Today I'm evil turtleneck sweater guy. I look like the villain from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. He had like a turtleneck sweater. And Bella's apparently a porg at the moment. Are you a porg, Bella? Are you a porg? No, you can't be a porg. I wouldn't want to eat my dog. Um, Go see Last Jedi if you don't get that. Okay, so last night, I finally saw The Disaster Artist, one of two movies I was really excited to see over the holiday season. And the reason. Well, first, let me explain. I was debating about whether or not to talk about this movie, and because I have a video coming up going down like the best and worst of 2017, but normally I like to play catch up around January and maybe a little bit of February, depending on how things go. And so I figured, yeah, I might as well get my thoughts out of the way just because it was really talked about, it was really praised, and in a sense, it kind of deserves it when you really do think about it. Um, so I guess to start off right in the whole front of it all, if you don't know, it's a movie about the making of what is considered to be the best, worst movie ever made, The Room. And I'm going to be really dead honest. I really don't like The Room. um, I think it's more of a curious case where the hype around it is kind of interesting because you have all these people coming out saying, "Oh yeah, this is a hilarious movie. It's not good, but it's so entertaining. It's so bad, it's good. It's the Citizen Kane of bad films." Um, if memory serves me, I think about maybe 5 or 6 years back, I was friends with a couple of people who did like live stream shows and stuff, and I think The Room was one of them. And we were all excited, like, "Yeah, this is gonna be so great. This is gonna be fun." And then we watch it, and I think midway through, our brains were so fried. I remember just sitting there thinking, "Why do people like this movie again?" So I think it's a case where the hype, for me, I think it's a case where the hype is more interesting, and just the reaction around this movie that everyone's treating it like it's their springtime for Hitler, where everything is so miscalculatedly bad. It becomes an entertaining mess, and for me, I like more of the absurd stuff, like when Hollywood pours like millions of dollars into something, and they're hoping it's gonna be this big thing. Hold it. Sorry, camera stand was gonna fall for a little bit there. Um, so yeah, I like more of the absurd things. Like, I can't believe Hollywood poured millions of dollars into this thing and it comes out just like that. Um, Stuff along the lines of, say, Super Mario Brothers, Howard the Duck, um, Waterworld. They make these big gargantuan things, and it's so interesting to see how it all crumbles together. Um, in comparison, The Room was made for, I think, like a relatively small budget, and it's supposed to be this big, epic drama. Okay, small scale soap opera kind of drama. I think like there's this husband who really loves his wife, but the wife's cheating on him. That's the kind of thing you see in soap operas, and so I really can't get myself into enjoying that kind of thing, even though there's this really hokey delivery going on, especially with the producer, writer, director slash star. So it's really one of those anomalies where it's like I can kind of see where the enjoyment is. The fact that it's the base of it is supposed to be this drama, but there's so much weird, absurd things going on that it sort of derails that sense of drama. Um, but I think what really invokes my interest a little more is this movie, The Disaster Artist, um, which is quintessentially the making of the film. It goes into stuff about Tommy Wiseau and who he is, even though it doesn't mention, or in this case, decipher where he really comes from, where he gets all that oodles of cash. um, it was based on a book that was written by Greg Sestero, the star of The Room. I know that much, and I wish I had the chance to read it. Because right now I'm actually really curious to see just how much was left out of the movie and how much it closely mirrors a lot of the stuff. I mean, I know the movie well enough to know exactly what it's doing and what's going on. It's this generation's Ed Wood, and that's what I find very interesting. But no, this movie really goes into detail on how Greg Sestero met Tommy Wiseau. They build up their relationship, which is actually pretty nice. Um, so when they do the things where like Greg wants to do his stuff, but Tommy feels betrayed because he doesn't want to let his friend go and stuff. Oh, we want to go out to Hollywood and make big movie. Ha ha ha. Like, I get that. I really get that. The big, American dream to go out and do something. Um, Even though there's really no clear definition for the big American dream. Um, but here, they really do go into detail over why these two are so well connected, why these two are such good friends. So when Tommy goes off and makes the movie, that's when all sparks fly, and you start to realize they both have different mindsets on what they want to do with their lives, how they view success, and everything else. Trying to keep myself awake here. Laundry day. Um, so when it goes into that moments of the big betrayal and all that sort of stuff, and Tommy doesn't want to let Greg go because he wants to, use him for his dream and all that sort of stuff. Those are the moments where I think it really does get interesting when you see the partnership between the two and how they work off each other. Um, you have Tommy that wants to make this big, great thing, and he's like really into Tennessee Williams and Marlon Brando, and they do bring that up quite a lot. And when you cut back to Greg, he's just a guy that wants to do what he wants to do, just act, just for fun. He wants to do it because he likes to do it, and he really wants to go out there and really make a living just for the sake of it because he enjoys it. Where else with Tommy, he's in it for the fortune and glory, but at the same time, he really wants to do it because he wants to show that he's more capable of what he is despite his limitations. He wants to prove that he can do great things, and you can see that in both lights. I think they show enough material to show the greedy side of Tommy, but also that side of Tommy where he wants to really show he's capable of doing big things, where he wants to go out there and really give it his all. Or else with Greg Sestero, he wants to act.
Tempe chili.
Sorry. He just wants to act for the sake of acting. He wants to do what he wants to do because he enjoys it. And I like that. I really like that angle. They really show two sides of the Hollywood life and how it's difficult to make it big in the world. They go to like different talent agents, and that doesn't work out very well. They really do show a lot of the ins and outs of how the movie was made, and that seems to be the big centerpiece of the whole thing. And I think that was done very well. Even though I have not read the book, I'm probably going to once I get done with the torture that is Ready Player One. Oh, I'm going to make a video about that one. Don't worry. The book. I'm going to do something different with that. Right now we're talking about the disaster artist. In terms of who they got to play for these people, because it's interesting because you can so easily do impersonation of Tommy Wiseau. I remember when the movie was at its resurgence, popularity peak online, everyone was doing it, and everyone was doing either. Hang on a second. There. Sorry, stepdad was coming in. He loves to play with the dog. I guess much like The Room, this is coming into a very peculiar disaster. But no, they got Dave Franco and James Franco to play Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero. And I think it's interesting that they actually got a set of brothers to play these characters, because it actually makes the relationship all the more interesting, because you kind of see the little buddying interactions between these two. So in a way, you're not seeing two brothers playing off each other, one playing Tommy Wiseau, in this case, Dave. James plays Tommy Wiseau. You almost had me there. So they have James Franco being Tommy, and they have Dave being Greg Sestero. And this is going to sound really interesting and strange, but of the two, I actually found myself getting more immersed in Dave Franco. And I think it's because I have not seen much of Dave Franco act that much, unless he has been in things I'm just not aware of. But I really think he could carry a movie. I'm actually more interested to see what he can do outside of stuff like this. And of course, James Franco, he's actually surprisingly uncanny as Tommy Wiseau. And it's interesting just to see how he gets into like Tommy's mindset and really plays him out to be the strange ideologist that ideologist, that's not a good term. um, idea guy. Like, he really thinks he's doing something great and groundbreaking when it's really just questionably out there. And when you really do get the scenes when they film the movie and certain things happen, you kind of wonder exactly what's going on in his head. Is he punishing these guys because certain things are not going his way, or is it because he thinks that it will, make the tension on the set more interesting and stuff like that, just to add drama. And it's very peculiar, very very peculiar and interesting, and that's kind of why I'm a little curious now to read the book, because I heard they left out a lot of big stuff, like theories on how the money for the movie was raised, and excuse me, stuff on Wiseau in general. So, in most respects, it's one of those movies that not only celebrates the bad movie from within, but it also shows a peek behind the curtain and be like, yeah, it's these two guys that want to make it big, and then things happen, and then at the end they get success, but in a way that they don't normally respect it. And it's interesting because you don't get movies like this that often. Like, not a whole lot. And the one that comes to mind the most is Tim Burton's Ed Wood. Because it's showing Ed Wood's filmography, what he does, all his signatures. Hi, doggy. Hi, how are you? It's showing all the features that Ed Wood does, the things that he worked with, and all the complications he had to do with his films, the way they're being filmed, and how he's sort of working around it. And you can tell he loves it because he has a passion for these kind of things, and he just kept going on and moving with it. With Tommy Wiseau, it's more of a case where he wanted to do something grand and big and have people relish it, and in the end, without giving too much away, even though you probably know how it's going to end, he realizes that they're relishing it, but in a different light, and he just sort of goes with it in that angle, because he created something great, but not in the sheer amount of greatness he expected. And I think on the front, it's a great case where he's trying to make like this big grand epic, and it gets cherished in a different light. And he realizes, oh, there's another way people can actually enjoy this movie. That's actually kind of interesting. And it's just interesting just to see that mindset, how he's so focused on one thing, and when it doesn't work, he sort of works around it and says, oh, yeah, it was all part of the plan. Yeah, it was all part of the plan. Ha, ha, ha. And I kind of like that angle. I think this is actually a good movie, despite the elephant in the room, certain things that are going on with James Franco. But like I said, I found myself more surprised by Dave Franco. Maybe it's because I haven't seen him act that much in a lot. I really think he can carry a film. I really think he can carry a film now. James Franco, yeah, he can. He's the kind of guy where he does drama and comedy. He's been with Seth Rogen. Even Seth Rogen's in this movie, for crying out loud. He has some funny bits too, as the camera guy and everything. Just director. I think he's the director of photography. I could be. Again, I got to read this. I got to read this book. I really do. I'm more curious than anything else. Unfortunately, I'm stuck reading Ernest Cline and his never-ending pages of 80s references and exposition dump. It's like, tell me a story, Cline, tell me a story. But that's another video for another day. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this film because with the next video I have coming up in regards to a look back at the best and worst 2017, I knew there's so much stuff that came out last year that I definitely wanted to go through and stuff, and to play catch up and discuss all that came out. It's difficult because you're kind of waiting for them to be out and release and stuff, and this and The Shape of Water were the big two ones I really wanted to see, and they didn't come out here. I don't know why. I guess because there are so many other movies that were more interesting to show, like, I don't know, a certain Space Odyssey epic, a certain comedy where kids of the Breakfast Club get sucked into a video game. I don't know, I guess they were more worth playing in theaters than these two. I kid because I love. So I'm glad this finally came out. Not locally, but at least 25 minutes away from where I live. Because I have a theater that's like a couple of blocks down from me, and it's like only a minute drive, which isn't too bad. But there's another one that's like 25 minutes away from me called The Strand. So if you live near Clinton, I do recommend going there. They often pick up movies that are not played that often in theaters, sometimes independent stuff, or even some classic ones. thank God they picked up The Disaster Artist just for a week. I wouldn't have the chance to see it. But if that's the case, I do recommend checking it out. And yeah, that's really all I got. So until then, see you later.